Hello and welcome to PolyInnovator. So this is the now page for September. This is number 14, so that's been 14 months in a row or so of creating these now page vlogs and now page blog posts. And it's a very interesting time because there's a lot of changes happening in my life. And the whole point of this Now series, as Derek Sivers puts it, is to share what's going on in the personal and professional lives. And considering PolyInnovator is both for me, they often kind of coincide.
Dustin Miller, PolyInnovator.
It's kind of interesting now for one of the first few months, this is the one time where they actually don't really coincide as much because I quit my job. And that's kind of like a clickbait kind of idea because essentially I'm still going to be working for that employer, but just I stopped doing water aerobics, which is a big deal because that's what I've been doing for the past 5 or 6 years. I've been teaching swim lessons, water aerobics, aqua strength, move your joints, and personal training, and all kinds of other jobs along the way. However, I came to the conclusion that I'm not making enough money from this particular role, and more so along the lines of just the hours that I'm getting. And my boss has been great, and she has given me as many hours as I possibly work. But considering the type of job it is, it's limited in how much I can scope it out and scale it up. And swim lessons have how I've been surviving since pre-COVID even, just by teaching more and more swim lessons and then compensating for the lack of income in that way. However, I come to the conclusion that I need to save up, I need to pay off whatever debt I may have, and that way I can actually focus more along the lines of just get PolyInnovator going and maybe even make money off of that if I can help it. And so what I've been doing is teaching these classes because I know my students needed me, I know my boss needed me to teach the classes that there aren't other instructors for, but I needed to take something for myself for once. And out of the 6 years or so that I taught, I only missed 1 week. And that was this summer when I went down to Houston. And so this entire time, I've worked every week, sometimes 5 classes, sometimes 13 classes, which those classes take a lot out of you. You're spending all your social energy and trying to make sure everyone else's energy is built up so that they can actually focus on their workouts. And it's hard. And I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it from time to time, but I felt that I wasn't performing well enough. Now, the other few things I wanted to go into as well is just on a side note, and this is unrelated, but I started doing karaoke, hosting. So I've been doing karaoke as a guest for 7-8 years now at this point, and taught myself how to sing by going religiously night after night after night, singing as many songs as I possibly could. However, recently I had the opportunity to actually run karaoke. Even last night, I ran it for the second time. That's amazing. Fun experience. And it's one of those things I'm just going to be subbing for now. But I figured that it's worth noting. And so in the future, me, if I've done karaoke for years, be like, I remember those days. But it's fun too, because it's like, I love being a performer. And as a host, you can get the people feel happy and get them in, get them to have to sing their songs, pop their karaoke, as they say. And when it comes to the professional world, I'm still looking for that new role that'll give me the hours I need. When it comes to PolyInnovator, I'm really excited. Like, I started this new phase this past month, and it's really amazing. This new teal design that I have for the overall branding, I think is really cool too. I was wanting something else besides that gold over the summer, but couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Eventually, I came across some kind of color website, and it was just talking to me about complementary colors. And the red for my PolyInnovator had a complementary teal, and that's the colors that I used, with the gold just kind of in there. I was like, this works out well, especially since teal kind of resembles the pool waves, the color of water. I was like, okay, this works. And I've been debating over the past year or so what the next phase of PolyInnovator should be. And I was trying to focus on omni-content. So I was going to do the modular degree, which was my do-it-yourself degree, then expanded into making a modular degree for other people. That's what I would consider the first phase to be. Ironically, there was another phase after that, before phase 2. Maybe I should just call it phase 3 at this point. But that was the interviews. Literally, just the opportunity of having everyone at home during quarantine was nothing, an opportunity I could pass up. And the opportunist in me was like, hey, gotta do this. And so I started creating the interviews and started doing these interviews, 96 at this point, even have a couple people still asking about doing ones after that. And so I need to make sure I get these out, and that's what my big focus is for right now. But that's what my last phase has been around. And it's interesting to think about how they just kind of came out of nowhere. And that's one thing I really love about the phases, is that they're not beholden to a structure that other people have to worry about. I worry about it because I want to make sure I do it right and have a good order of my life. But that's the whole point, is to build out my life and have each phase organized into something I can actually track, and not to mention to continue. And so I figure in the future, I'm going to have these phases still in the system. Eventually they might get too much and we might reset or something like that. But for the most part, I'm going to keep making swimming content over the next few years or next couple decades. I'm going to keep, maybe even longer, I'm going to keep making educational content. I'm going to keep making polymath content. I'm going to keep doing interviews. And they're just going to scale up. And the more I can do, the more I can create, the more I can offer to the world. And that's why I think these phases are really cool. Sure, some might be a bigger focus than others. Some might be like pushed down so I can focus on a bigger phase at that point in time, especially if my workload is really high. But that's the point. They can shift. They can have the freedom they might need. The other thing would be is just focusing on getting that book done. I started writing a swimming book over a year ago. And I know that the content that I'm creating is valuable. It's unique. Other people don't teach the way I do. It's why I've been able to be so successful with swim lessons. But I need to get it done. And so my productivity has been lacking over this summer. My mind has been focused on my work and as well as just family and life. And so I haven't been able to really put the energy I want to into PolyInnovator, which was surprising because I thought that the summertime was going to be great for it. Now I'm finally able to shift that back into PolyInnovator. The focus is getting there. And I'm making this video a couple days late for the Now page updates. I want to do it on the 1st. I want to make, edit, and release on the 1st. And that's what I did for the first 12. But the last time took me about a week. This time it's about a half a week. But hopefully I get it out today. Make sure I do. And it's my standard. It's my standard of quality. And I'm hoping that regardless if I get a full-time job now, and just all my time's taken up by work, or I decide to go all in on PolyInnovator right now, something I'm going to do, I'm going to be able to put all my energy into, and that's what I'm really excited about. And so over the summer, I had been the only instructor for a couple of the classes, and that's why my focus had been so much on work. I was trying to make sure my students were okay, trying to make sure my boss was taken care of, bosses actually. And on top of that too, since one of my bosses had to leave for a while, I was able to take up an extra role and help out more. And so that's why my mental focus and fatigue started building up a bit. But it was worth it, and I'm so glad I did it. Like, I think that was completely the right thing to do, and it was a gut thing. Like, I just realized, hey, they're gonna need somebody. Let me talk about it. And like the moment I said, like, hey, do you need help? They're like, yeah. And it was just smooth sailing from there. However, I'm going to be trying to focus in on content creation now. Even if I'm doing a full-time job, I'm still going to do it. And I was really wanting to do this time blocking thing because I've been trying to do that for years, unsuccessfully. But with this new poly-innovation operating system I'm building out, and I say new because I really did change it a lot over this past year, especially this past few months, because I had someone reach out to me and got me motivated to really dig into it again. And every little piece that I had built up, like I had a schedule, I had a yearly review and a yearly planning and a finances thing, input and output, the input being the modular degree and the output being my content production ecosystem. These things I have built out on my own with influence of Thomas Frank and Ali Abdaal and of course August Bradley, all these amazing YouTubers. Sure, they influenced me, but most of these I had built out myself before I even realized who they were. And it was one of those things, I knew who they were, but before I realized they were Notion gurus. And it was interesting because a lot of these were just what I wanted. And I didn't have them in a organized pattern, I guess you could say. There was too many abstraction layers to it, which is exactly what drove me to Notion in the first place, is that every other tool had too little. And then I ended up spreading things out like a pancake, if you will. And so I needed to bring everything together and link them all together a bit more. And so now each of my content, sometimes even my modular degree if you want to, you can make tasks that'll all funnel into the main task database. All I'm saying is that it's starting to cohesively evolve into an actual system that can work together and not just have these separate parts working individually, which is exactly what I wanted. And I'm super excited about it. I'm hoping that by creating this system for myself, I can create a template for other people to use so I can actually make Notion content as well, more so, and I can actually get better at being productive. And then on top of that too, focus on the courses I want to put on the Special TV website, as well as the long form blog post on my home website. And I think that part of it comes down to just taking care of myself. So like today I slept in a little bit. I even took a nap. I was really tired. I needed to sleep. This is the first productive thing I've done all day, and it's already 6:30 p.m. And it's because I needed to relax. I was up late running karaoke. This past weekend I've been working every day, and it's just one of those things where I just needed to take a break for myself. And I think that that's a good lesson for other people to learn as well, is that every once in a while you do need to take a break. Honestly, at this point, I don't really have much else to say. I want to focus on getting time blocking in so that I can actually maybe start getting each of my series back up and running. I know I've been saying this all year, the Omni content, as well as the interviews getting more frequent and I can get them all out. And even starting doing game streaming. I don't know if it'll be a Twitch, maybe YouTube, because Twitch did screw up on me last time. I streamed for a whole hour. My tool even saying I was on Twitch, I tried looking at my Twitch page, didn't work. And I realized that Twitch did not receive my stream at all. So I just had a recording with nothing there. It's like, okay, that sucks. And so maybe I'll just go to YouTube and call it a day. Skip the whole process of how Twitch is trying to screw people over. Anyways, I hope you're excited. And if you're watching this in the future, then maybe you can look back on the different Now page updates and see how life has evolved for me. Thank you, and bye.